Are you listening? This ain't no quiet thing. We're screaming out our lungs. Hey, are you listening? Hey, are you there? Hey, are you listening? Or do you just not care?
Well, welcome to Hey, Are You Listening? This is a podcast exploring the past, present, and future of Christian music. My name is Joel. I'm here with my good friend Brandon. We connected over a mutual love of some particular artists, but also have some pretty different tastes when it comes to things. And so we get to experience new stuff from each other while inviting some friends along for the ride. Brandon, you doing all right today?
I'm doing great.
It's a beautiful sunny day down here in South Carolina, which is awesome. And today is an exciting one for us because we do have a special guest with us. And so you may know him as the creator of Tooth and Nail News on your favorite social media. Join us today in welcoming Cameron George. All right.
What's up?
Hey, man.
Thanks for having me.
We are super pumped. This is really awesome to be able to have you on. You reached out to us, and I was immediately like, oh, my goodness, I follow that site. Like, that shows up in my feed like every day, which is really, really cool. So it's awesome that you reached out to us. And how did you find out about the podcast?
I was looking for an episode talking about the hunger because I needed one as I was going to do an episode myself as a guest and came across your guys. You were the only one that had one, and I listened to it. I was like, I like this. So I listened to it a little bit more, and it's like, I saw you guys had the thing. I was like, well, I might as well reach out. I'm looking to get on more podcasts. I enjoy doing it. So
that's really cool. Yeah, I can't wait to hear your take on the hunger too. So that'll be fun.
When you mentioned that, Joel, I was trying to go back and be like, man, I hope that's an album I liked because I couldn't remember.
I think you were kind of meh on it, maybe a little positive, but
Maybe.
yeah, I don't know, Brandon. You just never know. So we'll see how it goes. Well, Cameron, man, again, just thank you. We're super pleased to have you on, and we're gonna kind of jump into this thing by talking about what's in the news.
What's in the news? What's in the news?
So it seems kind of silly for us to do a news segment when we have a news guy on the podcast. And so I asked you, Cameron, if you might be willing just to run our news segment and tell us what's going on out there.
Okay.
So take it away.
all right, here are some of the biggest headlines of the last month. These are the ones that I covered. Beginning of February, we saw The Blamed announce that they were working on a new album for 2026. Family Force 5 also teased new music and were announced for Warped Tour, which is pretty big for me. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, you and Brandon both.
Haste Today announced their new album, Dissenter. And then Idle Threat also announced their new album, You'll Forget the Sun. Another one I'm definitely excited for.
Me too. Me too.
It's going to be so good. Jason Dunn of Hawk Nelson announced formerly known as his new album that's coming out in May. We got August Burns Red released the first single of their upcoming album that is still untitled at the time of recording this.
Yeah.
The Dingees announced their album Armageddon Massive on vinyl with Unoriginal.
I pre-ordered that.
I did not, but I'm really wanting to. Ronnie Martin of Joy Electric launched his new podcast, Rambles with Ronnie. Sent by Ravens kind of launched their comeback with getting announced for Louder Than Life Festival, which is cool, and also announced new music. Josh Porter from Showbread released his new book. It's a long title, and I'm not going to read it all. And then lastly, I've got Ethan Luck, who is in a handful of Tooth and Nail and Solid State bands, announced his new album, Give Up the Ghost.
That's really cool. I know you mentioned a couple that you're pumped about, but yeah, why, tell me about those that you're really excited about.
Family Force 5, that's just a big nostalgia thing for me. I was like huge into them, like middle school age, like when they were just kind of ending their career there. And so that's super exciting. I'm excited to see them doing new stuff. I got to talk with Solomon, the singer, a little bit, but I'm not going to say anything more than that because I don't have any huge news, and two, I don't want to say anything too soon for them.
Brandon is
but
like
that's cool.
thirsty right now after you said that. He's like, I want to know.
Yeah, off the record, yeah. But then the other one I'm really excited for, Idle Threat. They're just awesome. I love their music. I'm stoked for their new album. I recently just did an episode of Tooth and Nail Alumni React to New School Tooth and Nail music, and I got to play the new song Evermind for Adam Knight, who's in Craig's brother and Too Bad Eugene. He's like, man, this is good. I'm like, right? So yeah.
I love that new song, and I love their Blurred Visions album so much. I saw them at Furnace Fest a year and a half ago. Yeah, a year and a half ago, and was just blown away by them, and also just like how cool of guys they are.
Yeah.
Getting to meet them, so I'm really
Yeah,
excited
they're
for
really
that.
sweet guys. I
Yeah.
did the trivia night October last year, and I reached out to them, asked if they want to donate any merch for prizes, and they're like, yeah, and they sent me a few different things. That was really cool.
That's really awesome. I love that. Yeah, Brandon's been really excited about the Family Force 5 thing too. Yeah, Brandon is. I think the last time we talked about it on the podcast, it was more of just like something's happening.
Yeah, there
but-
was rumblings. There was random like Catholics being posted on Instagram or whatnot.
Yeah,
And
but we
then,
know more
yeah.
now, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's really exciting. For me, Family Force 5, I got into them in, it would have been like 2007. So it's when they were just released their extended version of Business Up Front. And I feel like that's cool. So for you, did you get into them when like Solomon was still like fronting the band, or when like Crouton, which by the way, Joel really likes when I just start throwing, Joel's like, are you making these up? Or are you, were you like into it whenever Soul Glow was there, or like whenever Crouton got in, like was that the version of Family Force 5 that you hopped into?
I was right in between. Like, I got into them around the time that Chainsaw came out. So it's like 2013, 2012, something like that. So right around there.
Yeah.
'Cause they were pretty hot right off of 3 coming out and everything. And then I was pretty devastated that Soul Glow left the band. And then, but it was cool to be into a band as they were releasing a new album. And so they put out Time Stand Still, and I love that album. I don't know if it holds up as well now, but I really loved it then, just because my favorite band was putting out a new album at the time.
I describe it to Joel that, and you might disagree or agree with this, but I feel like Family Force 5, they're like the Star Wars of like music, where I feel like each of their like kind of like there's these 3 distinct ones where it's like the Business Up Front era, then you have like the Dance or Die to 3, and then you have like the Time Still, like Stand Still. And it's like, there's some people that are like, man, all of it's amazing. There's some people that's like, well, no, these 3 years were amazing. And I feel like Family Force 5 is just, it was a band that was always like kind of like evolving and like trying different stuff. And so I feel like it's always interesting for people who were like, you know, for me, where it was like kind of on this front end of it, then you have people like on the back end of it where they're like, you know, the more of the last album stuff.
My favorite thing though about this whole thing is I think in our second episode we covered a Family Force 5 album, their second record, right?
Yeah.
Love that album.
And so I'm like,
You might want to close your ears.
I
then.
know this is one of Brandon's favorite bands. He's just going to be over the moon for this. And then he gave it like a 2.5 out of 5. And I'm like, oh, I thought you loved these guys.
It's a really complicated relation.
So Brandon falls into the category of someone who really loves an era of a band.
No, that's funny. You say Dance or Die is probably my favorite Family Force 5 album.
That's
I
how
own it on vinyl. That was my holy grail, and I spent more money on it than I probably should have, but it's cool to have.
that was. I bought it when they first released it. So I got it for like probably $25, and I got it, and I didn't even own a record player. So for the first like year I had it, it was just like sit in my room, and I was like, man, so I wonder how those things work. And then finally I found like I think someone was selling a record player for like $2 at the flea market. And I was like, all right, there we go. Now I can go home and listen to this.
Probably wrecked the record putting it on that thing. And then you're like, I'm just going to drop this needle. How does this work? I still have I love vinyl so much. I have no idea how it really works. It's fascinating. Cool. Well, Cameron, thanks for walking us through the news and what's going on. Let's talk a little bit about what we've been listening to lately. What are things that you guys have been spending time listening to that you've enjoyed?
I'll go ahead, I guess. 7 Day Jesus has been a big one for me because I did that last podcast,
Yeah.
so it's just been in my rotation recently. But I went back and listened to their second album a little more, and it's like, oh, it's not as bad as I think I remember it being. It's pretty good. Audio Adrenaline has been big. I don't know where it came from. I just gotten this kick for like 90s Audio Adrenaline, so that's all I've been listening to. Some Copeland, obviously Idle Threat, I'm excited. And then specifically a song by Hunter Plake. He's on BEC right now, called West Coast Babies, and there's just something about that song that's just hit just right. I've had it on repeat lately.
That's awesome. Yeah, the 7 Day Jesus thing, I remember as when I was younger and super into them. The Hunger was like a perfect album in my estimation at that point in time. And so when the second record, the Forefront record, came out, I'm like, what is this super polished garbage? Like, what did they do? But now I go back and listen to that album and I'm like, this is really good. So I don't know.
Maybe I was too mean to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely was, but I love both of those records for their own unique things. Brandon would much more be a fan of the second album, the self-titled.
You know me.
The Hunger. So
That's cool. So I was curious when you brought up Audio Adrenaline. So is it kind of just going to their catalog and hitting like shuffle, or is there like a particular album that you've gravitated more towards, or?
I started off with this like I'm gonna listen to all the albums. So I started. Well, I skipped the first one because I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. It's too hip hoppy for me, and it's not my thing. So then I just went from there and listened up through. Was it Worldwide? Is that what that was called? I think I listened through to that one, and then I've just kind of gone back and forth here and there to certain songs now.
I actually spent time listening to Bloom because they just had the 30th anniversary for that. And that's probably my favorite Audio Adrenaline record because it's like a rock and roll record.
Yeah.
More so than like the rest of their stuff. And
Yeah, that one's good.
The guitar work's phenomenal on it. I love that album.
I'm pretty divided between Bloom and Some Kind of a Zombie. Yeah, I like both those.
I do too. Yeah, that's good. Brandon, what about you? What have you been listening to?
So it's not a new release, but it is a new release. It's one of those albums that, like you're listening to it one day, then the next day it just mysteriously disappears from all platforms. And you're like, oh, why did that happen? So The Last Bison, they released a EP about 10, 11 years ago called Dorado. And I think it was after they released their VA album. And it was just like incredible. And I don't know what it is about Last Bison. I mean, their albums are good, but I feel like their EPs are just, it's like you give them 4 songs and they give you something that's perfect. And so it's been really cool because there was a couple of like tracks from there that I'd been thinking a lot about recently and just thought like, man, I wish that there was a way I could have like bought this or whatever. And so I got the EP from them when they were selling them back in December. And but they announced they were releasing it, and I feel like it's just easier to listen to something like to streaming versus like finding somewhere to put the CD in. And so it was just really cool to kind of get to listen to those and like kind of like transport back to like 2015. So it's like in the middle of college, and you're finding this amazing band and all that stuff. So I've been having that on pretty much nonstop.
That's cool. I love that. I feel like we're still in that like phase of like when is new music really going to start hitting? And so I've kind of been struggling with like what to listen to that's new, but I put together a playlist a couple of years ago that I keep adding to on Apple Music called Christians Rock. And so it's not like Christian rock, but it's rock music by Christians. So, I was listening to it the other day, and anytime I feel like I'm in a kind of a lull, I'll like throw that playlist on, and then it'll take me to, I'm like, oh, I need to go listen to that record by that band. And so the one that it drew me to that I've spent a lot of time with is one of my favorite albums by 238, Regulate the Chemicals. And I just have spent a ton of time listening to that record. And that's a band that my band got to tour with several times. Just phenomenal band. And maybe one of my favorite albums of all time. So I've really
I would
enjoyed
take it down, but I'm afraid I'm not going to get back on the wall. But I have a poster, like a touring poster of "You Should Be Living."
Oh, that's awesome.
Up.
That's awesome.
So that's one of my favorite albums. I love "You Should Be Living."
I have a I have an end of 238 poster from basically like some of their last shows with my band like on the lineup of the poster for that day. It's like it's a treasure for me. It's hanging up in my upstairs.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So yeah, man, that band was incredible and phenomenal live. Just unbelievable. So awesome. Well, let's check the mail.
Check the mail. Check the mail. Who, what, when, how, why? Check the mail.
Well, our question today comes from Jordan. Brandon, you might know this person.
I've met her a few times.
Friend of the show. Jordan asks, what artist, alive or dead, if you could see them in concert, like go back and see them at any point or stage in their career, like what show would you want to go to? Who's an artist and what stage in their kind of career as a musician? What would you want to jump into? I've thought a lot about this, so I can go first and let you guys take some time to think through it. I was trying to think through for me what it would be, and I think honestly, I'm going to go with the artist who's passed, just as an opportunity. But for me, it would probably be Rich Mullins. That if I could go see Rich Mullins on like a tour from the era of Liturgy, Legacy, and a Ragamuffin Band. With his full band. I just feel like that would be incredible. And I never got to see Rich live, and I hate that I missed that opportunity. That's one that I'll never get back for sure.
I think the two that came to mind for me, and I tried to think of people like a Hatton Zine, because honestly, like a Me Without You show, like if they were doing a reunion tour, like if they announced it tomorrow, I'd go buy a ticket. But Rich Mullins came to mind, and more, I feel like it's almost less of the concert and more of I'd love to just like chat with them afterwards, like at the merch table,
Yeah.
and get to hang out. And another band that is this band called Children 18-3, and they were on Tooth and Nail in like the like late 2000s, and it was like three siblings, and they like toured close to here like one time, and I wasn't able to go to it. And I've been revisiting some of their music, and I feel like it was just such a cool, like, just a cool band. And once again, I feel like for me the show's cool, but I'd love to just like chat with them afterwards. Yeah. So like that's the caveat, is it's like if I can chat with them afterwards, I'm going with this one. But
Brandon, maybe we can track them down and have them on the podcast.
I've thought about reaching out to them.
Yeah.
So
Could be cool. That could be cool.
I don't remember her name, but the girl that was in the band, she's pretty active on social media from what I've seen. So, there's a chance.
Lisa, if you're listening to this.
Awesome. Cameron, what about you?
Okay. This is tough. I would have, like, prior to last year, would have said As Cities Burn, but then I finally got to see them last year open for Emery, and that was super cool.
That's awesome.
That is my all-time favorite band. So, I think I'm gonna go with Zao, but in the Blood and Fire era.
Okay.
Like with Brett on guitar and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I think that would be the band I would want to see. There's just something about their shows. Like, I hate watching the videos because I kind of just get jealous. I'm like, I wish I would have been there to see them one time. And my dad actually saw them like right as Juliana Theory was starting. So it would have been like shortly after Brett lost the band.
Yeah.
Which we can dig more into that later about my dad being into Tooth and Nail, and that's what got me into it. But
That's awesome.
Yes.
I could have easily picked a Brett lineup, but it would have been Juliana Theory for me for sure. I remember one time I drove 3 hours from Jackson, Mississippi to Birmingham, Alabama to see the Juliana Theory play, and they canceled like
I was thinking,
as
like,
we
don't
got
tell me
there.
they canceled.
They totally canceled, and we were so bummed about that. And so I never got to like see them in like the heyday. But I have been able to see them, I think, twice at Furnace Fest. So thanks to Furnace Fest.
Yep.
It's really awesome.
Rest in peace, Furnace
Yeah.
Fest.
Oh man. Yeah. That's a whole conversation for,
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode.
I need to make a correction real fast.
Okay.
Her name was Lee Marie.
okay.
So if Lee, if you are listening to this, I want you to know I apologize for 2 minutes ago when I got your name wrong.
That's good, Brandon. Yeah, we don't want to hurt the chances of that happening. So
You imagine the odds of like if you did have someone listening and that was what they like the one time John Rubin listens is the one time I don't mention like I'd love to see him live.
Right.
And he's like, oh, I guess he doesn't want to see me anymore.
Yeah, let's just start listing off every single band we'd ever want to see, and then we'll get them on the podcast.
we definitely have names that get repeated a lot on here. So it's pretty funny. But all right, Brandon, I hear you have a game for us today. So let's get into that and let's play.
Let's play, let's play. It's time to play a game. Let's play. It's time to play a game.
Yeah, so today's game, as we sometimes do, we've stumbled upon some secret news. And so today's prompt is we have found out that Tooth and Nail is releasing some new merchandise for some of their current artists as well as alumni. All right.
Okay.
And we're gonna have you and Cameron. You're gonna be the secret shoppers, or just give some feedback. Okay. So I'm gonna give you some products that are totally real. These
Totally.
are
This
about
is
to roll
coming.
off the assembly
Yeah,
line,
gotcha.
but they need your
Can't
help.
wait to pre-order them.
All right, our first one is album called Hawk to the Chief. It is Hawk Nelson releases a compilation album featuring songs about each U.S. president. So there is a pop punk song dedicated to each of our presidents. Do you think are you pre-ordering that, or do you feel like Tooth and Nail, Hawk Nelson should not be releasing an album? How interested are you?
Tooth and Nail, Hawk Nelson.
Yeah.
I originally thought that this was going to be Hawk Nelson covering the Radiohead record, Hell to the Chief, or Hell to the Thief. Yeah. So I don't know. That might be more interesting to me. But I mean, I'm sure there are thousands of people that would jump on this if it came out. So sure. I mean, it would be a hit.
I don't. Yes, that's the thing. Personally, I don't know if I'd buy it, but I could get behind it, I guess.
I feel like I would immediately go to the most obscure president I could think of, and just to be like, what
Yeah.
did they find? Because those are probably going to be the best ones. As
Yeah.
you're like, let's see
Okay.
what Taft was doing. Next one, it is MXPX Marks the Spot, a treasure hunting board game where you find the secret to what is punk. So it's a board game,
Yep.
a pirate-themed MXPX board game. Let's say $40 is what they're going to charge for it.
Does it come with an album, or is it just a board game?
Just a board game.
That might change my answer now. I think I could go for that. It's a cool novelty item.
Yeah, I can't
might-
imagine. I'm shocked that honestly this would happen, considering I think there's pretty good bad blood between MXPX and Tooth and Nail at this point. But yeah, I would buy it if the figurines are like a little Mike Herrera, a little Yuri. Like I'm in.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I will say at this point, for transparency, each of these products I was making up was something I would buy, because it reminded me of like years ago they made like John Rubin toilet paper, and they were selling it for $50 a roll. And sometimes I regret not buying a roll of it. And so I felt like the next ones I had to step up and be like, okay, how can I put a twist where it's not
Not
like the
something that
coolest
you'd go
product?
for. Okay, gotcha.
So the next one is Starflyer 59 ounce branded energy drinks. So 59 ounces of Starflyer themed energy, featuring flavors such as blueberry collar and minor key lime splash.
Those titles are awesome.
You got to think the boys at corporate, they
I've only had one energy drink my entire life, but I would 100% buy that. Probably leave it sitting on a shelf versus drinking
just
it.
a half-gallon can of.
Yeah, I'd probably buy it, but same thing. It might sit on a shelf for a very long time.
All right. Next up, we have Slick Shoes Laces. Each pair features the band logo and a guarantee that these shoelaces will never stay tied. They're just too slick.
Slick Shoes is my favorite punk band.
Uh-huh.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I would display laces. And I probably wouldn't put them on my shoes. So that's probably one that I would be like, I don't have to buy that one.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think maybe I think Vans sells shoes with like blue flames on them, so they kind of look like burnout, and you
There you
lace them
go.
on a pair of those. There's a good display. I'd buy them for that reason, so I could display them on some burnout shoes.
All right. OC Super Soaker. Each blast features a song resembling the blare of 5 trumpets and horns. And you cannot turn it off.
You cannot turn it off.
I'm sold.
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
All right. The Classic Crime. True Crime Starter Kit. The members of the bands will help you through it so you can become the best local sleuth in your neighborhood. So the members of the band are walking you through how to become a true crime leader.
Well, I'll just be honest in that as the old guy in the room right now, Classic Crime was a little like they were in a phase that I wasn't like paying as close of attention. And so I just never really got into their stuff or listened to them. So I don't have any nostalgic reason to buy that. But just for the true crime, I love true crime. So I might buy it just for that reason.
I saw them live last year. They're pretty cool. I'll buy it.
All right. Our
For
final
that
one.
reason only.
You imagine walking up to the merch booth, like at a concert, and you just have like, here's your $30 t-shirt. Here's like maybe a $10, $15 like CD. And then here's just this like $100 true crime kit. It's like- All right. And the last one is the May Everglow Nightlight, a nightlight that glows brighter and brighter with each day. No batteries or power needed. It just mysteriously glows.
It keeps getting brighter.
Yeah, every single day it gets brighter. And there's nothing you can do to turn it off.
That is quite the item. I think that's pretty awesome. I definitely. Do you have to plug it in, or is it just glows?
It just glows.
It just glows. It's kind of convenient. You don't have to plug it in. Energy saving, I guess. But
Yeah, can we use
buy
it to
it.
solve the energy crisis? Like,
You probably could. I mean, you'd probably be fine, but once you give it passed it down to your kids, it's probably gonna start shooting through like it's gonna be a laser, just like shooting through.
the light of 1,000 suns.
yeah. I mean, the Everglow is one of my favorite records of all time, so I'm probably a yes.
This potentially life threatening
I'm just
freebie.
gonna put it in a closet. Cool, Brandon. Thank you. It's good to know what Tooth and Nail is spending their time and energy on these days. They could work a little harder at getting records out faster. That Idle Threat record's been in the works for a while.
Too long.
so-
Too long.
Come on, Brandon. Just get on it. Not you, Brandon Eagle.
Yeah, at first that's why I shrugged. I was like, yeah, I'll see what I can do. I'm just helping a market. I'm not really in the R&D appointment of the
Gotcha. All right, well, let's transition and get into our conversation about Tooth and Nail news. Well, Cameron, again, man, it's a joy to have you on. I've enjoyed talking about this stuff already, but kind of want to just get your story and how you got into this and what it's led to and what's going on with Tooth and Nail News. But just to kind of kick things off, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I love music. I love tooth and nail stuff. That's kind of my niche. I grew up around music. My dad has always been in music. Like whatever churches were a part of, both my parents were usually in music. And then my parents had a youth ministry in the 90s. And so obviously Tooth and Nail was a big part of that. And so
Yeah.
I grew up with a lot of this. And I'm a musician myself. I mainly play drums, but I play some other stuff. And a lot of this stuff that I do with Tooth and Nail News just kind of plays into my background and my love for music.
That's cool.
That's cool. So what kind of led to having that love of music? Like, where did it take from where you were like, oh, like this sounds good or whatever, to man, I want to be a part of this. Like, I don't want to just put a CD on and listen. I want to be a part of this world.
Yeah. I remember being very little, like listening to Striper was like huge for me, which is funny being, I was in the 2000s and elementary school listening to Striper.
That's awesome.
But stuff like that, and like I said, my parents were listening to it all the time, and so it never really like I was into it. It was awesome. I loved music, just the idea of music and everything. And then when I got into middle school, band was an option. I was like, well, I want to play drums like my dad. So that's when it kind of started becoming a little more real in that sense. Like, oh, well, I can do what they're doing. And so as I got into high school, I started the band and wanted to do more stuff with music. And it just became more important because I'm like, I love what they're doing. What if I did it?
So you've got a dad was like a youth pastor in the 90s. Tooth and Nail is a big part of it. So obviously it's playing kind of in the background of your life, like in a lot of ways. But how did that really become something? Because I play music for my kids all the time. They're 11 and 12, and they're getting to the stage where they just kind of roll their eyes when I play like what I want. They want to listen to Forrest Frank or whatever. But how did you begin to like fall in love with a thing that your dad loved?
Honestly, like I can't look back on it and have like it clicked. There was just at some point as I was getting into music, I liked more of that stuff. I had a DC Talk phase, so that was big for me.
We all did. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. The best of us. But I remember as I was playing music and my dad's trying to get me into stuff, it was just kind of almost a natural progression of things. I grew up around it. I remember I went to a garage sale and I bought my dad a Disciple CD. It was Scars Remain. And that was his Christmas gift that year. And he picked me up the one day from school and had it play in the car. I'm like, dude, this sucks. I don't like this. He's screaming. It's not my thing. And then about a year later, that was when I started getting to the same music. I'm like, I'm sorry, Dad. This is actually really good. I think one of my very like biggest memories I remember of like finally digging into the Tooth and Nail stuff and the stuff my dad was listening to was we have over here in Ohio, we had a channel that would play. It's called JCTV, and they had a music video blender that would play and I think it was like Wednesday nights at 7, and they would have an hour long of just contemporary metal, anything in the Christian scene. They're playing those music videos, and the music video for Meltdown by Love and Death came on. I don't know, you guys familiar with Love and Death?
I've heard.
Yeah, Brian Head Welch from Korn. It was his band after he left. And I just remember watching. I was like, dude, this is good. Like, I like this heavy stuff. And something clicked. I think there's a Blindside song that played shortly after that too, and I love that one. I don't know if that kind of answers the question.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
There was just some random moment that it clicked.
So, how did you come up with the idea of creating a new site like for Tooth and Nail?
It just kind of randomly hit me. I saw other labels supporting bands after they left, and I was like, that's cool. I wish Tooth and Nail would do that, because I was, I've obviously been big into Tooth and Nail for a while, and I was like, I wish Tooth and Nail would do that. It's like, I wish they would share anniversaries and this and this. And that's not to hate on the label. I love everything they do, obviously. But I was like, I could do that. Like, that could be something I do. And so I just started doing it here and there. I had some negative interactions too prior to that with some other groups. Not mentioning names or anything, just because I try to send love to everybody. But I was like, I want to try to create a space that's maybe a little more positive, and I think so far it's gone pretty well. I've had very few negative interactions, but that was just like, I want to try to just make a positive page. And I think the news I'm sharing, it's all positive stuff in the sense of like bands are coming back together. I want to be able to support them.
Yeah.
That's one thing I really love about the page. Because when Joel first mentioned you, I was like, yeah, I know that guy. Because my Instagram feed, like it will come up, and what I love is that it's a mix of like bands that you maybe not have heard from like in 20 years versus like bands now, and it's cool because kind of like this podcast, like there's all these bands that like I used in my friend groups, I was like, oh, I'm the band guy, like I know all these bands, and then like diving into this, it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm not some expert where it's like I'm at 95% of knowing bands. It's like, oh, there's thousands of bands that I don't know of, and I feel like for you, you give a really good opportunity for people to like jump in with the nostalgia, like for me, like a Family Force 5, and be like, oh man, like I want to learn about them coming back. What's it going to look like? Then there's also like these newer bands that it's cool to pop up and be like, man, like I should go check them out because here's a band that maybe, you know, just got signed to Tooth and Nail, and like it's cool to go check them out. And, you know, I feel like it's awkward when you're trying to support bands like 20 years later and you're trying to find stuff on eBay. And I think, oh, I wish I could have supported them when they were active, you know, versus now. So it's always cool whenever I can find bands that still have active like merch shops or are touring. So I don't have to sit there and say, well, back in the day, they were nice. And so I've enjoyed that about your page.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things I've tried to keep is like bringing everything together. You know, there's the old school Tooth and Nail group on Facebook. There's a new school, and it's like I don't have anything against either of those groups. It's awesome. That's where I got a lot of my start with all this stuff is with
Right.
seeing what those people are sharing. But it's like I want to bring all that together. I don't want there to be a dividing line. I think it's cool to be able to keep it all together, and I've had some really cool interactions with people because of that.
Yeah, and I'm going to give Cameron credit for John Van Dusen seemingly finally releasing I Am Origami Part 4 on vinyl.
Finally.
I feel like he was pushing it out there and just like wanting it to happen. I commented on it. I'm pretty sure it's our interaction that led John Van Dusen to be like, it's time. I'm just going to finally do it.
Yeah, it's been way too long.
Yeah, I'm pumped about that. So what's it been like for you to kind of watch it grow since you started? Obviously, you've got a lot of followers, a lot of people who are engaging in the content. How's that been just to sit back and see, oh, this is awesome?
It's been crazy. Like I'd never expected it. Like I was telling you before we started here, it was in April of last year. So I'm coming up on a year here. And I have 2.3 thousand followers on Instagram and 600 on Facebook. And it's like, that's crazy. I would have never thought it would kick off. I honestly, in my brain, anticipated like getting into this, get 500 followers and maybe just kind of fizzle out. Like I was like, you know, I've done social media pages before, nothing big. And I just like, it'll be like all the rest. This will be a phase. It'll fizzle out. But no, it's been crazy. And going back to like the different bands of different generations, it's cool seeing all people come together and just a general love for the community. There's definitely a big community. I've got to do different events and stuff, and that's seeing all the people come together for those events. Like I did the trivia night last year, and it was cool. I had people that were super into the old school stuff and people that were into like the 2000 stuff, and they're all answering questions. It's cool to just have all these people come together like that.
Yeah. I love that. And I feel like you're right. And the reason that any of this stuff works and is successful is because there are so many people out there who this is like deeply ingrained in their heart. They grew up in this, they have so much connection to it. And for the longest time, it's like we were all just a bunch of disconnected people who loved some of the same things. And so I feel like it's cool to get to be like a part of creating community and bringing people together around some of this music that we all love. And it's cool to have an opportunity like this for you to come on a podcast like this and us to interact about it. I feel like the more that we can do things like this, the more that we can like help build and create even more community around this stuff.
I think it's really cool always seeing like I've had tons of opportunities to talk to people that are, you know, they were into the Christian music before Tooth and Nail was the thing, and so Tooth and Nail was big because they were doing something different. And so it's cool being where I grew up. Tooth and Nail was established. There was a Christian music scene because of that, and so it's cool to be able to talk to people and be like, yeah, because of that generation, I got to have good music growing up.
That's great.
That's really cool. So next question, who's your Mount Rushmore of Tooth and Nail artist? And I mean, I don't know if you want to take this as your personal favorite or the ones you felt like were the most influential. So whichever way you interpret that question.
I made a list of both because I was like, I don't know. I don't want to sound too biased here. So just a general importance. I went with MXPX, Under Oath, the Supertones, and Demon Hunter. I think they all play very huge roles in the scene. But for me personally, I went with As Cities Burn. Like I mentioned, they're my favorite band. Amberlin, John Van Dusen, and Luxury. I think they're probably my favorites of the roster.
Come on. Yeah, I love it. I love it. That's great.
I'm glad to be amongst other John Van Dusen fans because there's not enough of us.
And I don't understand that, honestly. I can't, I mean, it's hard to find for me guys that are making music today that are putting out anything like as like genuine and thoughtful as the stuff that he's doing. And he's doing it at such a like a high level.
Yeah.
Not just like creatively in quality, but quantity too. Like putting out so much stuff, and it's all so good. And I don't understand why he's not just like one of the biggest things in the world. But
Yeah. He's so original. It's hard to find super, super, super original music now because it's all been done. So it's cool to have somebody like him that's just coming and doing something that's, sounds like other stuff, but it's very unique.
yeah, it's so true. So what Tooth and Nail band or release do you think is like pretty like criminally underrated, and that and we were just talking about John Van Dusen, maybe that's one, but
Yes, I have him highlighted.
but yeah, some others that just maybe like never got the fair shake that they deserved as an artist or a band.
Yeah. This was another very tough question because I think there's a lot of really cool, and especially over the past year, I've really got to dig into some of these artists. What I'm always bringing up is The Undertaking. They were on Solid State a few years ago. I love their stuff. It's just fast, heavy, chaotic, Chariot, Norma Jean kind of stuff. It's great. Don't Know, which was on Tooth and Nail really early on. Super funky kind of punk stuff. Awesome stuff. 50-Pound Bible is a great song. I'm always trying to push that one on people because I think it's a cool song.
That's awesome.
Like I said, John Van Dusen, but I won't get into that one because we already talked about him enough. I don't want to fanboy over here. And then Luxury. I love Luxury. They're my second favorite band. So foreshadowing to our next recording session here. I get to talk some more about Luxury, so maybe I'll keep that all to myself right now.
Yeah, I can't wait to have that conversation. Honestly, pretty pumped about that.
So for Tooth and Nail, I feel like it's really safe to say it's one of the most beloved like record labels out there. Like it holds a really special place in people's hearts. What do you attribute that to? Like, why do you think that Tooth and Nail, after all these years, is still something that like so many people hold or love?
I mean, I think a huge part of it's community. They were creating something that was before its time, almost in a sense. Like they were the first to do Christian outlier music per se. That was it was different. They were the first to that because you had bands like Mortification was out there doing stuff, and Tourniquet, and a lot of the metal, and there were some hardcore bands out there, but it wasn't. They were still on bigger labels, and they were far and few between. I think maybe Mortal was really one of the few that was super underground that was getting some play. But then they came in, and Tooth and Nail started putting all these albums that was like, yeah, these are Christian bands, but we're not marketing them as Christian. And so that created a bigger community with that. And I don't know. I think a lot of it just comes from like longevity and creativity behind all their artists. They're all very unique, and they're always something different. Even today, like the artists are still fairly unique that they're signing. I was actually talking to my dad the other day. We usually go out to record stores on our days off and go see what we can find, and we're always seeing Tooth and Nail stuff. And I told him, like, if it weren't for Tooth and Nail, we wouldn't be walking to a record store today and finding Christian artists right there with the rest of the secular artists, or whatever you want to call them, right? Like, it's cool that I can go in and scroll through all these metal CDs and stuff, and I find Dead Poetic in there. Like, that's so cool, because without Tooth and Nail and 5 Minute Walk and all these labels that were ahead of that curve there, we wouldn't have anything now.
Yeah. It's such a true thing. And it's hard to even imagine for me, like it sounds weird to say, but my life and my like trajectory of my life, like if Tooth and Nail hadn't been a part of the story for me. And they were doing something different, but I think you're exactly right that they really were creating a community and making some of us who got a little, like the traditional CCM stuff just got maybe a little wearing on us or old for us. To create a place. And what was beautiful about the community they were creating is you could go to a concert and see a metal band with a punk band and then just like an alternative kind of band at the same time. And it's like everybody in the room could still be a fan of all of those things. And that was the norm. Like it wasn't just metal bands touring with each other. Like you would go, they really built a whole music scene that was more around the people that liked these bands more so than like the kind of music that the bands were making. And I just feel like, man, that was such a cool thing to be a part of. And it's something that is totally lacking today. Like it's hard to find out there. So
Yeah, I'm trying to fill that void as much as I can.
we'll keep working on it together, man, for sure. What are other labels? You mentioned 5 Minute Walk a minute ago, but what are some other ones that have like been influential for you, or just other labels that put out stuff that kind of impacted you?
Yeah, Face Down Records was a pretty big one for me, which they're more primarily hardcore and stuff. But as I was getting, I was playing music and getting into Christian metal, Solid State and Face Down were like my big two. It was cool finding those bands. But like I said, 5 Minute Walk, I love. Obviously, 7 Day Jesus, they're pretty awesome. 5 Iron Frenzy, they're one of my favorites. Like there's a lot of cool adjacent stuff to Tooth and Nail like that.
Yeah,
that's kind of what was big for me. But yeah, Face Down I think would probably be my big one. I actually started cataloging Face Down Records stuff after I was doing the Tooth and Nail stuff. I'm like, oh, I need a break from cataloging stuff. This is too much.
That's so cool. I love it. Yeah, 5 Minute Walk was probably up there for me with Tooth and Nail, mostly because it probably started with 5 Iron Frenzy, but then 7 Day Jesus, and I ended up, you would get those like Take Time to Listen samplers, and that's the most bizarre thing in the world. That again, you would have like a CD that would have a ska band, and then they would have this like Scottish like the Electrics band, and you're like, what is this? And punk bands, the Smiley Kids and the W's, and just such variety. But yeah, you could create this like beautiful community around it. So
yeah, it's cool seeing like even through the 2000s, Tooth and Nail was still putting out stuff that was different. It was where all these people are still coming together because Cornerstone was still a thing, and all these festivals. So that was what was really cool about Furnace Fest, was all these bands are having reunite and bands come together, and there's so many different genres, but that's so cool to see, people going and checking out Roadside Monument and then going to the next stage over and seeing Zayo. Like that's cool.
That's really awesome. I love it.
Do you have any fun plans for the future of Tooth and Nail News?
Well, I guess I'll try to not share too much because I hate saying like, yeah, this is going to happen, and then it doesn't happen. I'm still going to continue doing the Tooth and Nail alumni reacts to stuff. That series has been cool. I've got to talk to some cool people. I've got some guests lined up. I've got some people maybe going to do it.
Cool.
Maybe I'll tell you guys that when we're not recording.
Awesome.
But that's cool. I've been doing a lot of stuff with the Roster Music Club. Those guys are really cool. I've done graphics for them off and on, but kind of stepping into working a little more closely with the guys, and they've got some tournaments coming up in the club that are really cool. Doing a Tooth and Nail second 100 releases tournament. So I was recently got to share my top 10 from those second 100 releases. That was a lot of fun. But it's just continuing on and seeing what comes of it. My wife and I are expecting our first kid this year, so I'm trying
congrats, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. I'm trying to kind of kick back a little bit on it and making time. So we'll see where the year takes me. I want to keep doing some events and stuff. I'd like to do another trivia night this year. Different stuff like that. I did the Secret Santa this Christmas. That was a lot of fun. I thought about doing a Christmas in July, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, just stuff like that, just seeing where things are going. Seeing what conversations I have and where things go.
I love that. Well, man, we're really grateful for you. We've talked a lot about creating community, but it's been really fun to see you be able to do that and bring some of these people together and just create a space where we can see, oh man, I love that record. It's whatever anniversary, or oh, one of my favorite bands has something that they've been teasing. I feel like that's such an important thing for us, and we're just grateful for all you're doing there. And man, I hope there's opportunities for us to continue to like maybe partner and work together.
Yeah, absolutely.
To help build some of this community as well.
Yeah, I'm always looking to collab with people on stuff. So
Yeah.
I love doing that. It's it's furthering that community thing. I'm always like reaching out to people like, hey, you want to do something? Hey, you want to like I've got to do a giveaway when Focus did their 7-inch last year. Like that was really cool. I like doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Cool. Well, man, thanks again for jumping on with us to chat through this stuff. We're excited about where this is all going to go. But before we say bye, we're going to talk through our lyric of the week.
It's time for the lyric of the It's time.
So the lyric of the week this week, as we're not covering an album today, we always go and talk about a Starflyer 59 lyric because Starflyer is a band that Brandon and I connected over, and our podcast is named after a Starflyer 59 song. And so today's lyric comes from the album Lust for Gold, the song Everyone Seems Strange. It says, the Christians have found their own different ways. Oh God, please help me find the ones that stayed. That song, ever since I heard it, it's just impacted me and connected with me like on a deep level. And so I love that. Can't wait to get to cover. We covered Starflyer for our first episode. We're probably getting close to being about time to hit another.
I agree.
one up. So that'll be good. All right. Cameron, again, man, thanks. Where can people find Tooth and Nail News? Like, what's out there for people to connect with?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. That's kind of my main thing. If you shoot me a message on Instagram, I'm probably a little more likely to respond than other places. But I'm also on Facebook, and I try to keep up with messages there. So, and then YouTube now with this new series I'm doing. And then you can catch me in the Roster Music Club from time to time as well. So
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, we encourage you to go do that. There's some great content that is happening there. You can, of course, find us at Hey, Are You Listening on Facebook. We're also on X and other random places, but we just appreciate you guys sticking with us, listening, digging into this as we work to create community around this music. And so we're looking forward to continuing the conversation, and we'll see you back next time.
Hey, are you listening? This ain't no quiet thing. We're screaming out our lungs. Hey, are you listening? Hey, are you there? Hey, are you listening? Or do you just not care?